Good afternoon, everybody. Well, I figure this is the first video I've made in a few days. I've been a little busy with things going on, so I figured now is as good a time as any to start uploading a new video to discuss the state of the New York Mets based on a flurry of moves that have gone on around the league because we're getting very, very close to the start of spring training. Actually, pitchers and catchers report on Wednesday. And news broke out this weekend that Seth Lugo has a bone spur in his right elbow and will be missing approximately 6 to 12 weeks, which is going to take him possibly into May. Big blow. He is one of the most reliable arms in the pen that we've had. I actually trust him more in a tight spot than I do Edwin Diaz. And this was a big loss. Not good. And it already has exposed our lack of pitching depth. Which brings me to my next point. I have to say that, yes, you can say that the offseason overall was good and successful, primarily because of the Francisco Lindor trade. That was a great trade, and I'm pumped about that trade. We got him and we got Carrasco. Beyond that, it's disappointing. I really have been disappointed with the lack of work in free agency that Sandy Alderson has made. I just there was a flurry of moves this weekend, and I'm not saying that any of these moves necessarily would have excited me. I actually would have preferred either James Paxton or Rich Hill for our number 5 rotation spot. But in the end, Rich Hill went to Tampa. James Paxton went back to his original team in Seattle, and even Jake Arrieta went to Chicago. And from what you hear, the Mets were in on every single one of these guys, but got outbid, which has me now deeply concerned. Sandy Alderson has been the issue of the lack of free agent moves this offseason. He's a great scout. He's great at evaluating talent, great at scouting, great at making trades. I really appreciate the fact that he built this core when it comes to Jeff McNeil, Michael Conforto, Pete Alonso, trading for Syndergaard, Brandon Nimmo, trading for Lindor and bringing Lindor and Carrasco in here, and drafting Dom Smith. A lot of the great players on this team he's responsible for. He built a pretty good core here with his drafting and scouting. And he's good at making trades. Again, he traded for Syndergaard, and he just gave us the Lindor and Carrasco trade. So I'll give him credit for that. What I don't like about how he manages is in his free agency mindset, where he's extremely stubborn, where he doesn't want to go beyond what he feels is player worth. Where if it's a free agent and other teams have gone to the extent of we'll overpay because we really want him, he could be the guy that gets us to the next level. To me, as pissed as I was, and I'm as pissed as I still am about Trevor Bauer, the guy that was going to get us close to where the Yankees and Dodgers are was George Springer. That was the guy. And to be honest with you, if we signed George Springer, I couldn't have cared less about Trevor Bauer, but I wanted Bauer because we missed out on Springer, even though I knew what Bauer was. We did not get to that next level yet because of Sandy Alderson's stubborn negotiating. The only reason why he offered Springer as much as he probably did was because of Steve Cohen, the owner. And Cohen was probably explaining to him, look, let's go, let's make an effort. And Sandy was probably telling him, I'm only willing to go to this point. I'm telling you, he's not worth it more. Toronto was willing to do what it takes to get their guy in George Springer. We weren't. And Sandy Alderson has always been that money ball, only worth so much, spend only so much, don't get yourself into too much trouble with bad contracts. And that's what Sandy Alderson still does when it comes to free agency. He's good at building a core through drafting. That's great. He's good at making trades. That's great. clearly his weakness as an acting GM, because he really much has been the acting GM since we let go of Jared Porter over that whole scandal. Um, he's been the primary negotiator, and as a result, George Springer went to Toronto because George Springer saw that Toronto was willing to go the extra mile to secure his services, whereas Sandy Alderson and the Mets just didn't want to. Even though we had the resources that we haven't had in the past, he just didn't want to, refused. And Trevor Bauer was probably the exception for him, but we got played because he really wanted to be in LA all along. He never wanted to be here. We know that now. The dust has settled on that. I just can't wait for August, for that. But that'll be another story for another day. And then over the weekend, when you see even a bunch of flurry of other pitchers we could use go to other teams, and now we see Justin Wilson, who's been a valuable pitcher for us over the years, go to the Yankees. I mean, we're losing out on second-tier guys going to other teams because of Alderson just not wanting to go a little bit further to secure the services of a guy that's necessary. Maybe I could say the exception was for Jonathan VR last week. Okay, not a bad move, and the bench is pretty. It's decent. I admit I liked VR for the 1 year deal. Because he brings extra versatility and speed to the bench. But overall, the pitching, he could have done more to address the pitching depth, and now it is a serious concern. To the point where we're not even close to competing with the Los Angeles Dodgers right now. Not even close. And they just re-signed Justin Turner. And the thing that worries me a little bit, actually a lot now, is, to me, again, it goes to the point where nothing has changed because we're still hearing the Mets are concerned about the luxury tax, where the moment Steve Cohen bought the team, we were told money's not going to be an issue. Don't worry about it. He's got plenty of money. The luxury tax won't be a problem. What have we heard this offseason? They don't want to go above the luxury tax. They didn't want to shell out the extra money for Springer. And to be honest, think about this lineup. Springer, Lindor, McNeil, Conforto, Alonso, Dom Smith, J.D. Davis, James McCann. With Springer in our lineup, we could have competed with the Dodgers. But we were the organization was stubborn. They just didn't see it that way. They didn't want to give Springer what Toronto was willing to give. And Bauer would have made us arguably the best rotation in the National League, even though we know what kind of personality he is. And he's not as good as what he was last year, but still, I mean, with him in that rotation, it looked a hell of a lot better on paper. As it is right now, the front of it's decent, but we've got serious depth concerns. The lineup may be able to manage okay with their depth. All right, I'll buy that. I mean, it's not the best bench out there, but it's not bad. But the bottom line is now our pitching is seriously concerning to me, and the fact that Sandy Alderson and the Mets organization continues to do the Moneyball approach and only willing to go to a certain point, letting a lot of other players go to other organizations to fill needs while we're still kind of scrapping around to finalize things, it's disappointing. Honestly, when I evaluate the whole offseason, I give the Mets a B-, and that's generous. Because we failed on Brad Hand, we failed on Trevor Bauer, we failed on George Springer. Even though Trevor Bauer used us, it's still a failure. We failed to secure these other pitchers that could have been of use to us. Free agency's been a failure. The trade for Francisco Lindor definitely boosted the offseason. But I'm concerned. I'm really concerned because we're seeing a trend with the Mets striking out on free agents. And I really hope we keep Lindor here. I really do. And I hope we keep Conforto here. But right now, the core of the team, because we built it through the draft, is pretty good. It's pretty good. and we might be able to compete for the division this year. We'll see. It's a long season. A lot can happen. Um, but we're nowhere near ready to compete for a World Series with the Dodgers. Not even close. Not even close. And we're not even as good as our crosstown rival, the Yankees, a team we're shooting for supremacy over. We're not, which we're still lagging behind them. So, um, again, the Lindor trade made it a good offseason, but I have to look at free agency as a bust. I really thought that after we got Lindor, we were going to end up with Springer next, and that was going to kind of put us over the top, but just hasn't happened that way. Um, it just hasn't happened. So again, maybe they make another big trade. Maybe there's still a couple guys out there I'm not aware of that they signed. I'm like, okay, now it strengthens the team, and I really hope I'm wrong. I don't see us going to the World Series this year, but if we somehow by some miraculous miracle make it and have a great run and shock the world and upset the Dodgers and upset the Braves and upset the Padres or anywhere else that anyone else that might be a big threat, I'll make a video and I'll say, boy, was I wrong. I want to be wrong. I don't want to be right. But right now, I feel like there's still too many pitching holes and depth holes. I don't feel this roster is complete. It's not complete, and we could have done a better job at showing off this roster than what we have. So, again, bottom line, it's a B minus because of the Lindor trade, but it could have been so much more. I wanted so, and the main thing was a Springer. I still have to say, not getting George Springer in here was a failure. But I don't know. Let me know your thoughts, Mets fans. And again, as we get closer to the start of the season, I'll be upbeat. I'll be positive. Say, hey, baseball's back. Let's go, Mets. But I'm still seeing a concerning trend that we're striking out on a lot of free agents, and I don't know. I'm not liking that. But anyways, let me know your thoughts, and hope everyone has a good day. Take care. Bye bye.